Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Minds. Today we have a very special guest, Dimitrii, with us. He is right here in the Bay Area and working for a very successful company that we all use almost every single day, multiple times. So without any further delay, Dimitrii, introduce yourself, share your journey with us.
Hello. Thank you, Amish. Thank you for having me. My name is Dimitrii, and I'm currently working as a senior software engineer at Adobe. We're working on a core team where we're trying to solve all engineering problems as a developer experience team. Definitely we know all the products, many products, not all of them. I think it's kind of hard to know all the products of Adobe.
Yeah.
But we have so many of them, and the company exists for so many years, and there were many acquisitions on the way, and we have really diverse ecosystem between the different places, and we basically trying to find the way where we can find path where we can solve the problems in a more unified way and help engineers across the Adobe to solve their problems.
Yeah, that is just amazing. So I love using the Adobe products, and always wish I had a few more of, like, I'm always interested in getting that one more extra subscription, saying, hey, this is so useful, let me also get that. But before we jump right into it, tell us what got you interested in tech and how you got started.
Oh, that's actually the stories. I started to work as a software engineer when I turned like 18, basically.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was really long time ago. This is why, like, probably at my age, I might say that I have a lot of years, many years of experience. Is um, I had an opportunity. I worked on my education and with some friend at the university. He just suggested me, "Hey, would you like to, I don't know, work in some places, do some fun stuff?" And I accepted that, and that was really great thing. As of like, I seized the opportunity which was right in front of me. I didn't know what I was doing because I've never done any commercial software development in my life, and I was always passionate about making things work, solving people's problem. And I started my career. Basically, I started a little bit earlier than 18, but I think that officially I could have started working on this since I turned 18, and I started as iOS engineer. So I worked with the quite old technologies by nowadays with Objective-C without the automatic reference counting, and we were really limited in the resources on the machines and what emulations can do. That was pretty fun time. But I think my probably the passion about the software engineering started like long before that, when I just maybe saw the first computer or the calculator. I don't know. I grew up in a small village in Siberia. We had like 2,000 people, and there was no much opportunity to see like everything. What is there present in the industry. Uh, but I was able to find the access to the computer in the different places, to go to the computer class in the school, talk to the people, get access to the
Wow.
internet in
Yeah.
one way or the other. And it was and I never thought of that as a career. I just like was thinking about it as something what I love to do, and I really love to do that. Like since from like that point till now, and I was able to talk to my parents and find the place where I could start studying this software
Hmm.
engineering in some way. It was something new what nobody around me ever done, and that was also quite challenging. Is like I had to explain that it's okay for me to move on and do something differently from like everybody else.
Yeah.
Um, then this is where like I met a lot of people, moved to the bigger city, and started to work on my education and just lived in a dome and met a lot of people. And this is where I basically started do some weird stuff. Is like install the Linux on my machine and
Oh,
try to do
nice.
some hacky things like
Yeah.
like there was like Mandriva and the first time compiling Gentoo and spending a lot of time on downloading any distribution because sometimes it takes like the entire day to install anything if you install everything from like over the
Source
internet.
code. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the most important question, which Linux distribution did you select?
At the beginning, it was the easiest and cheapest. I think it was Mandriva. It was
Okay.
on top of the KD and just like the roommate, like across the whole, he's like, this is the easiest one. And it was
Mhm.
the easiest because like I can do everything by clicks and I didn't have to spend too much time on the terminal.
Yeah.
And of course it's like failed here, there, but like there was really amazing experiences. Like I think I used this for maybe a couple of months, and after a couple of months I installed the Ubuntu. It was really, really old. It was not like modern Ubuntu where everything is working, but like, and maybe I think at that point that was like really circus. I installed like pretty much everything what I could in different ways. It was a Debian, and I, of course, in Debian I didn't like that I cannot install the new fancy stuff because Debian was slow on the release. Then I remember at some point I discovered the Gent. The Gent was really tough because compilation took a lot of time, and the probably one of the where I spent the most of the time was Arch Linux.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly I love the Arch Linux for the like community and the wiki is of like Arch Linux I think have like basically the best wiki about all the problems in Linux. Just
Yeah.
I frequently find myself like, oh, I'm solving this problem in Linux, and I'm like, oh, it's Arch Wiki. But
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what the distribution, because but Arch Linux was pretty flexible in what
Mm-hmm.
packages you can install, how you can install, you can push even your
And
own packages in this AUR, which is like user distribution, but they always say like it's like the scary place where everything is like up to you. We don't guarantee anything, but it was
yeah.
so cool that we could have done it. So yeah.
And part of that knowledge are you still able to use in your on your daily job now?
Oh, my daily job, of course, because it was Linux and it was all terminal, I think, at some point, because all the graphical interfaces even for the package installations were pretty hard. It was like they didn't work really well. And there was some on Ubuntu and some of them were on Mandriva. But I think at the end of the day, I just moved to the shell, to the terminal, one way or
Yeah.
the other, and working there. And it gave me actually new kind of open for me the new world where I can do a lot of things related to the automation of whatever work I was doing. Because
Mm-hmm.
one of the my popular comment was like how to convert all the ID3 tags and MP3 files to the Unicode so you can see all the titles and authors in
Yeah.
MP3 files when you're playing the music on the Linux. And it was so amazing that like at first I didn't understand what it does, but like
Yeah.
collecting the bits together, but like piping all the comments. It was I still use it. I'm gonna use it because the shells and terminals make me so productive in
Mm-hmm.
many areas. And yeah, I think it was big for me. It was
Yeah.
like new world. I don't know.
Yeah. It's always amazing, like how deep we are able to go into the operating system with Linux and like what we are able to do with it, right? We just like look
Yeah.
into customizing it. So tell us more about the journey from there till now. Like what does that look like?
Let me, yeah, get this. I started to work in an outsource company where we develop all the software for whoever wants anything. We never owned any products. We didn't have any
Hmm.
product. We just were like outsourcing company. But there I was able to work on many different projects. It was most of all of them were iOS, but some of them were longer, some of them were shorter, some of them were like just some UI, some of them were like games like.
Hmm.
But most of our applications were like business applications with a connection over the network to the services, is like representing data natively.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I worked there for a couple, 2, 3 years. And I think at some point I just met the cup where I couldn't grow as an engineer, but I didn't want to go to the management at the same time.
Yeah.
Uh, and I decided to leave and find something else. At that point, for about a year, I was working as a freelancer. I was just like finding job here, there, and doing what I was actually doing there, but doing it for myself.
Hmm.
Like I probably learned a lot of like the responsibility about the how you don't have a weekends on a freelance, like
Yeah.
that's you always like 24/7.
Yeah.
Uh, was interesting, was fun. And at the same time, I was helping one of the hiring agency to interview the people. I was just
Mhm.
like, come there, do the interview, do the assessment, and like my job is done. Just met the people, help them to solve their problems, like even if it's just a hiring. And I think maybe in a year or so, one of the person in the agency, they suggest, oh, we have a great job, great, right? Do you wanna like take a look? I'm like, yeah, sure. And
Mhm.
like show me, and it was a product. It was a company called Speak to It, and uh, how to say, they were working on a assistants on a chat-based and voice-based assistants when
Okay.
Google Assistant didn't exist
Yeah.
and Siri didn't exist. And later on, I think I worked there for a few years. I finished my education while working in that company, and I'm really grateful for everything that, like, I learned a lot of that. I learned a lot, many people, I learned a lot of different technologies, and I was hired as iOS engineer, but we were able to solve all the problems related to the iOS, and I had a lot of opportunities doing the different stuff, doing some
Yeah.
Python backend related things, solve the machine learning, uh, supporting machine learning engineers to solve the problems there mostly. Um, and the great story here is it was a startup, but I didn't really bother as of like whether it's gonna be successful startup, not gonna be successful startup. But then I really liked what we're doing. It was really amazing
Mhm.
experience for me, regardless of like the outcomes. And we got acquired by Google. This is how I moved to United States with
Okay.
acquisition of the company. I started my job as a software engineer in the United States. It happened about 8 years ago,
Wow.
maybe
Yeah.
plus or minus. And I worked at the Google for 6 years, and I spent a lot of time, uh, much time really learning, but at the same time, I started to educate the people and do the interviews. I like to do the interviews simply because I like to meet the people, get their
Yeah.
experience, and understand them. And I did a lot of mentoring on a C++ readability. It's like one of
Mhm.
the Google thing where you mentor the people who don't have these badges of like whether you can write a readable C++.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
helping just teammates here there. I was doing that for quite many years, and I left the Google with the first layoff of this, like 6% the very first layoff in February. It was February, I think. I don't remember exactly. I lost the
Yeah.
track of the years.
I know.
And in a like it with the COVID, we missed like couple like year and a half. Sometimes it's in out of the memory. And I joined Apple I think in a couple months, in like 1.5 months, basically. It was April 24th, and I worked at Apple for 1.5 year. And before that 1.5 year was over, I noticed that the person who I know for quite a while, who was like Titus Winters, I read the books, I read the guidelines, and I never worked with him personally, but we communicated like over chat, over the questions about the readability, and he was amazing, great leader.
Mhm.
I was really like fascinated by everything what he was doing here. He was doing the educational things on the ACM, and he was doing the papers. He was working on the WG21 for the standardization group, and he
Mhm.
was library chair there. Was great guy, and he moved from Google. He's like, oh, I'm starting. I'm gonna start to work on Adobe, and it was, I think, spring, and I just like really wished him good luck. I just like expressed my gratitude for like everything what he was doing and wished him good luck. And as a joke mentioned, hey, if you're gonna hire, just pick me. And
Yeah.
he did in August. And like a few months later, he pinged me like, hey, would you like to join? I was like, that was the opportunity where I joined Adobe, and I was so fascinated. I'm still like so thrilled that I can do that. I can work with those people who I knew for many years and who I really admire in many ways, and I just don't have enough words to express how grateful I am for that opportunity.
Yeah.
At Adobe, actually, I started to do what I actually love to do, helping people to solve their problems, but
Hmm.
probably firstly, primarily helping engineers to solve their problems. Since we developer experience team, I think I always believe that developers are the first users of our software, one way or the other. Like we kind of, whether it's testing or whether we actually looking inside of the code or like how our data
Yeah.
flows here there. Um, it's such a complex problem which I don't know how to solve, and I'm really glad that I'm here. And probably nobody knows for sure how to solve it, but I'm really thrilled to like learn everything around it.
Yeah. So, how much portion of your time right now do you like still have to like write code versus like manage things?
Oh, manage things. I'm a senior software engineer. I don't manage things, except myself probably.
Sure.
I'm having titles as my manager, and I have opportunity to do a lot of things, and it is always supportive. And since we're a core team and we don't work on the product, we don't really have a streamlined process on how we do the things,
Hmm.
and we're more open to the explore things. Like right now, I'm working on some static analysis tools for the internal build system at Adobe, so that
Hmm.
during the code review or during some other steps, we can figure out how our code works during the compilation and understand what are the problems and whether we can do the refactorings. And it's kind of technical piece of work where I'm working with a other team who's like sister team, where I'm integrating into their internal build system
Hmm.
in order to generate the indexing of the code for the C++
Hmm.
code bases, for the large code bases like Photoshop and its dependencies.
Yeah.
The other is like we're working on the guidelines for engineers about whether it's we have we really only starting ramping up a little bit and like sitting procrastinating right now on one of the guidelines as of like how to write tests, how to communicate with the people, how to do
Hmm.
the design, how to do basically everything what we call software engineering, except like not only the programming part, right? Like we're not only
Yeah.
developers, we're right now the software engineers where we need to solve the problems. And communicating with the people is really big thing there.
Yeah.
Uh,
On
I'm
on
yeah.
the current world, like what are some of the new innovative technologies that you are seeing that's being integrated right now with the products?
With the products, innovative technologies like it's a Gen AI everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's a big thing like nowadays. Although I'm probably not fully into the idea that like, hey, Gen AI is going to replace the engineers. There is no evidence of that to come close whatsoever. But I would guess it's a really maybe amazing tools, and I would encourage everybody to try and find the way where it works for them. But since we're working on a developer experience, in part of our job is to see the proper metrics of
Mm-hmm.
like, does something work or doesn't it work?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think the what a couple years ago there was a Dora report on about the Gen AI tools and the developer experience
Mm-hmm.
journey, and it didn't really have any big spikes there, as of like how much productivity do we expect from the people? And also, as I pointed out, like we engineers and our job is solve the problem and communicate a lot with the people. I think the typing of a code was never a bottleneck. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we really spend a lot of time on the design discussion in the meetings,
Yeah.
finding the stakeholders and making sure that we're doing the right thing. And all of that, like most of it is not really just a coding. Yeah, coding is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And if there is a tool like GenAI, like where we can put the proper contracts, proper
Mm-hmm.
prompts on the things, and it would generate the good enough code, which we can reuse. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
need to do few tweaks here, there. Yeah, why not? I'm totally supportive on using all the necessary tools which help you to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
From innovative, as of like we're working on a internal team, we innovating in terms of the constraints, as of like where the constraints are good, as
Mm-hmm.
of like, hey, we can do some work for you as a core team. Let's say we can update some of the library which you're using, we can update some of the tools which you use. but at the same time, it means you cannot do whatever you want. We need to pick some of the technologies which we're working on, or some APIs, or some specific libraries, as of like, hey, can we limit the number of the usages of those some libraries which we don't have a control over, or we don't understand how they work. Which is also innovative in Adobe in a way that there were a lot of teams which don't know about each other, and everybody's working on their own stack. And it's innovation of like, hey, can we bring all those people together and solve some common problems for them? It's really amazing, challenging problem, and it requires some kind of culture shift, and it's
Yeah, makes sense. And so is it easy? Like, did you see like any you did bring up that point, so I just thought about asking, but do you see like a completely different culture between the three organizations, between Google, Adobe, and Apple, like, or on the ground while doing development, it doesn't matter?
No, the Google is really known for the developer experience, things like everything around the technology works really great, and I learned so many things there, and I'm very much grateful for the everything what happened there. Like I think I remember myself of sometimes thinking as of like why something is not working, like at the Google, and I was like complaining, but problem was like I didn't know what the things were outside, as of like why do we invent our own things here there? Like I don't know, why do we invent our own code review tools, but our like or code management things, or like our libraries, but there were really great things as if everything was working. Where when you go outside and let's say start to work with a software which is built of all the open source tools which barely know about existence of each other, and there is nobody who's going to support it ever. That's really different story in terms of the technology, because we're kind of trying to create this monster out of these small pieces which don't really connect it, and we're steering them somehow, and it works and then breaks. And when it breaks, it's really hard to like figure out what's going on. The culture in the Google technical culture was amazing back then. Like I'm very much grateful for that. About differences between Apple. In Apple, everything is really silent. It's like walls between the teams. Is like you cannot break them through. And I think the maybe difficulty a little bit as of engineers don't have too much voice in and opinion about what they can do, how they can do, and things like that. It was pretty challenging for me to work. I cannot say that like entire Apple like that. There were a lot of places and a lot of really great stories about Apple with in different organization, but that maybe I was a little bit unlucky in this way, and there might be better way to do the things. And Adobe, at Adobe, since I'm on the center of the culture change, I cannot really. I'm working with the people who I never dreamed to work with.
Yeah.
I mean, I dreamed to work with, but no.
And
I'm doing the things which I'm really passionate about, and
yeah,
people are really fully supportive. And of course, in terms of the technologies, in terms of the code, maybe there are some things which we could have done better. But this is exactly what like my job. Hey, let's fix that, and let's find a way how we can move forward and fix all the problems for the engine. Not all, I'm fix all the things, but improve the things. We, never go to the perfection. Progress, not perfection. And I cannot. I would say for 15 years working in the industry, it's the best place to work in. But it's not about the technology; it's about people.
Oh yeah, that's the most important part, right? Like, irrespective of everything, it's about the people you're working with, the team, right? It's more about the team and the managers and the people you interact with on a daily basis. That's really important. Yes, there is a huge impact of the company itself, but in the end, it's about whom do you have to work with every single day. So that's really amazing. So looking forward, like this was a great insight into where you reached, where and how you reached where you are. But looking forward for the next 5 years, what are some of the things that are exciting, and what would you like to be in like 5 years?
Yeah, that's very interesting. As of like we right now in exploration, like for the last 6 months working at Adobe, on a big exploration that we know where we want to be,
Hmm.
and we know where we kind of learn a lot on where we are. But right now, the hardest part is find the spot. We
Yeah.
do have a North Star as of like, we know it's there. We
Yeah.
know where to go. We just need to find the path forward. And where, and we do have a plan, and our plan is like kind of change the culture and m- make it perfect engineering culture with all the
Hmm.
technical excellence at Adobe across the organizations where we can grow, like sustain the company, where we can solve the problem across the teams in
Hmm.
automated way. When there was even like recently talk from my managers about like how the dream outcome looks like, and where we have a great code review, where everything is tested, where customers have no bugs, where if you want to experiment, you have freedom, you have access to the experimentation, where you can reach your customer by looking into the feedback, where you
Hmm.
can provide the experimental things, where we have teams working together, we're who working a lot like on over communicating rather than not communicating, where we have solved all the technology problems, and Gen AI helps with all of that to facilitate all our development.
Yeah.
So it's a culture change as of from where we are. We're right now really nice people, and we need to be really nice and really kind to each other and try to help each other to be there. So I'm really looking towards the how I can help and do my best to help Adobe grow as a technical organizations, to
Hmm.
break all the silos and help engineers to be their best, what they really like to do, and they have the fewer possible problems on the way. So they have
Yeah. Yeah.
clean highway to get the job done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really amazing. I it would be the interview wouldn't be complete if I didn't notice. But what do you do with two watches?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
The short story is I had the Apple Watch for many years and I use it well, and that was a great experience. But unfortunately, I started to run like maybe a couple of years ago, early in the morning, and when it goes below like 10 degrees in Celsius, sometimes Apple Watch dies unexpectedly. I don't know, battery issues, things like that. And I got new simple, oh, no, sorry, this
The way,
new
yeah.
simple, more simple, not smart watch, but it's fitness watch. And the
Mhm.
great thing, it holds the battery for 1.5 weeks.
Oh wow.
I
Yeah.
like longer. I don't have to worry about it, and it shows me time and solves my problem. I can do the
Right.
timer, and I can
Makes
run.
sense.
And yep.
Yeah, I've
And
always wanted to wear two watches, but I was always been like,
I
just
I
not.
don't know if it's smart idea as of like, but I mean I like it. It's kind of fun and a geek. I like
Yeah,
devices. I like to play with it.
yeah,
Those things are really toys, and I really enjoy them. But
yeah,
maybe from the economical perspective, maybe it's not the best,
yeah.
like
I
idea.
because there's like two completely different reasons to wear it, right? Like an Apple Watch or a
Yeah,
smartwatch is for the integration and like so that I don't have to touch my phone.
exactly.
And the other watch, like a not a fitness watch, but like a traditional watch, right? Analog
Yeah,
watch. Like that's to be worn for uh like the
it's accessory,
precision, the
right?
craftsmanship about it,
Yeah.
like all of that.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand, and I don't have, like I have
Yeah,
the smartwatch and I have the fitness watch, but I don't have
yeah, the
the
analog. Yeah.
unfortunately I don't have a third hand as
Yeah.
well. So like,
Yeah.
but I do love the metal watches, like like as
Yeah.
a thing. I very much
There is
appreciate the
something
craft
about it,
around
right?
it.
There is,
I don't know. I was always amazed. I remember as a kid, I got this first time ever touched the mechanical watches, which have this things where they charge on its own if you wear them like every
yeah.
day. You don't
Yeah.
need to even spring
Yeah.
anything because there used to be
I have multiples of those. Yeah.
not nowadays everywhere, but there used to be like some watch
Yeah.
which
With
you need
manual
to
winding
manual,
it.
like you every day you go
Yeah.
do, and
There
like
would be a spring that we are winding, and that spring stores the energy to push it.
Yeah, it was amazing. I remember opening this watch and seeing this thing which
Yeah,
spins around.
the
It was
coil.
like,
Yeah,
it's so small and it's so shiny and it's so precise. It was so
yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds great. So yeah, before we conclude this episode, I always like to ask, like, what are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do outside work?
I just happened to have wear a jacket at the Boston Marathon. It's 2023. I usually run.
Okay.
I like running, and I like running for many reasons. I started running because I hate running, and I decided to build a character by doing something what I don't like. But turns out I can do it pretty well, and I found many people and a community. I'm gonna run on a Sunday with the people who I know for few years who are running with, and it takes a lot of time running,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's really a fun activity, and um, that's what I do outside the work.
Nice.
I have few medals, ran the Boston Marathon twice. It's kind of
Congratulations. Yeah.
big deal for among the runners to run the Boston because
Yeah.
it's like 1%. Somebody's tried to explain me only 1% of the world population runs marathon, and only
Yeah.
1% of this 1% gets qualified to the Boston. And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is how cool you are. And I was
Yeah.
like, yay! It's
And this
like
was in 2023, you said?
it's 2023.
Nice.
Yes,
Congratulations.
2023. Yeah, I
Ye-
I ran it twice, and I ran the next year after as well, and that's great. That's what I do. And I have a kid. I have a kid who is gonna turn 9 in July with my wife, and I think family is also a big part
Yeah.
of my life and many aspects. I'm father, so it's more like I sometimes forget to mention that because it's such a natural part of my life. Is it like I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I have a kid. We have a problems every day. We're playing Minecraft. We may be
Nice.
reading some books, doing all the stuff like
Yeah.
building something, engineering like traps for our dog, like how
Yeah.
to make the dog go in the box.
Yeah.
Or recently we had a mice in the house and he engineered his own trap with a bucket, and
Wow.
when he built a trap, put it on a tape, put the food inside of the bucket, and he's like, yeah, it's gonna be trap. I don't know where he got it, but it was amazing. Uh, yeah, we caught the mouse. We let it go in the forest, but yeah, it was good.
Nice. Yeah, that's amazing. So it's always good to spend time with the kids and like do something. It's amazing how innovative and new ideas come up with the new generation, right?
Yeah, I learned a lot. I think my kid he taught me many things as of like throughout life. As I don't even know how to explain. There's so many things which of course, like it probably I can approach it more philosophically and understand what it
Mhm.
means. But the purity of the thought there, and I'm like
Yeah.
doing my best not to. I'm afraid that I can put some improper judgment somewhere, which might,
Yeah.
discourage kids from
Yeah.
doing something. I'm trying my best to avoid that, as
Yeah.
much as possible because there's so many
Yeah.
bad
Not to
thoughts.
influence his life choices, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Balance. We need to find balance
Yeah.
between doing the safe thing,
Guiding
doing
them
the
and
right
then
thing.
not influencing. Yeah.
Parenting is hard, and everybody says
Oh
like
yeah.
there is no unified
There's no
way to
wrong
do the
way.
parenting. There is no wrong way, and I appreciate all the people doing the parenting. It's hard job, and do you have
Yeah.
a kids yourself?
I do. I have two. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it keeps me busy.
kids.
Yeah, we have a gardening day today in my son's school, so it's going to be fun. I love gardening. I've done a lot of gardening at home with them, and it's going to be fun going to the school and getting some hands dirty today.
Yeah, and probably the question which is something like
Yeah.
I didn't connect it, but
Oh,
we used exactly the same
yeah.
mic.
I know. It was like interesting. It's this exact same mic.
I'm just like
I got
looking
this a
like
long, long time ago. Like I think about 15 years ago, like when I was like, I want to launch my own YouTube channel, like when YouTube itself was new. And it still is one of the best mics I have.
and it's amazing
Yeah.
because it seems like it works really great, but I think it requires a little bit of software on top of it that I think it catches all the noises around. But
Just
yeah,
yeah.
that's a great thing.
Yeah. Sounds great. So yeah, thanks for coming on the show and like sharing your entire journey with what a successful software career looks like. Uh, in like starting from Siberia's like it's amazing how many things that we actually did something similar. I did a lot more of Linux localization with Unicode and creating my own distributions for Indian language computing with Linux, and it was the same a very similar concept, and then transitioning over to like some of the most successful companies and making them even more successful.
Yeah, the distribution, it was really great experience. I remember building my own, we called them back then Leaf CD,
Yeah,
as of like when you can build some distribution to do some
yeah,
things as of like yeah, I mean, I understand a little bit what you are doing, and it's really like it's really cool. Where I probably I don't know if I can ask the questions where you have been working before in the other companies.
lots of different companies. Like I've worked with even right here within Bay Area. I've worked with Visa, Kaiser Permanente, Cisco, and a lot more other companies as well. Uh, I used to do more of identity and access management. Did that for
Hmm.
15 years, and then switched over to doing more of real estate investments.
Yeah, I mean
It
that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
I heard a lot of good things. I know Cisco, I know Visa, and I know the problems with identity. And right now we have even all the companies working around the identity, like Adobe uses the Okta
yeah,
for the authentication. It's really interesting how all those domains emerge in the software and
yeah.
to
Like
solve the common
security.
problem.
Security is a weird thing, right? The better we are at it, the less we are heard about, the less it's the opposite, right? Like the more work we do, the less we should be visible. And uh, and like if somebody wants to make life easier, security kind of goes in the opposite way, saying, "Hey, if it's too easy, it probably means that the people that shouldn't be having access do get access." It's a very inverted world.
Yeah, but at the same time, with like since we work on developer tools, we try to incorporate the security is by design, right?
Oh yeah.
Like everything you're using
Hmm.
is secured by design. And one of the problem which I faced at Apple was if you're using something like AWS and you have a lot of corporate enterprise security policies,
Hmm.
but you don't have visibility to them. And every time when you're trying to do something, you get like 404 or you get some other weird issue where you like 43, you don't have access to something. And
Hmm.
you don't understand what the problem.
Yeah.
And you need to ask somebody and talk to people and figure out. And where like at Adobe, we also face some similar problem. And not we, but I mean saying we, but
Hmm.
there are a lot of people working on that. Is like how to find the APIs, how to find the tools where it give the tools to the developer. So
Yeah.
whatever they do, they just
Yeah.
do. They don't really
Yeah.
care, worry about the securities of like
Yeah.
everything is embedded in there. It's like I want to create the service, and service
Hmm.
is secure by default. I want to create a Docker image, and Docker image enables all the authentication and everything like by default, and has them key rotation and like
Yeah.
everything in there embedded. As of like we just ask you to update once in a while, and everything is good.
Yeah.
Uh, which is a challenging thing to do. And I'm
And
but
it
like
just
when
runs
it's
in the background with
yeah.
we like it's probably true of most software as well, right? Till the time it's running, people like just assume it's going to run. If it stops, if something doesn't go well, that's when they realize, oh, there is just so much that is there in it.
And it's true about all the maintenance team, right? Like were, and I consider myself as a person working on the maintenance team. When everything works fine, nobody even remembers
Oh
you,
yeah.
right? Like until
Yeah.
something goes sideways, then like security is a big example. Is of like if there was a breach in security at fault, but if there
Oh
was
man.
no bridges
Yeah.
for many years, then why do we even have a security? What they're
Yeah.
doing?
It's like
They
insurance.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they're doing important work as of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
keeping guards.
Makes sense. Yeah, sounds great. So thanks for coming on the show. This was extremely helpful of sharing your valuable insights of everything that you've been through, and hopefully this is like very useful for somebody coming into the industry and like how to reach successful levels like you.
I have tiny personal blog. If somebody want to subscribe, I'm trying
Oh,
to.
sure.
I like a while ago. I was like, I want to talk to the person who I worked with at the Google a few years ago, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to discuss with you some problem. But then like, oh, where do I share it? And that was now basically kind of the
Yeah.
common forum, and I was like, I'm gonna do some small blog. It
What
looks
is it?
like,
What is it called?
oh, it's on a Substack. It's my last name, like Kuragin dot
Mm-hmm.
substack.com.
Oh, Substack.
And yeah, I'm really not doing. I'm just like sometimes it's random thoughts, sometimes it's configuration in Emacs, sometimes it's
Nice.
weird problem about C++,
Yeah.
and I don't do that like regularly. It's not like business or something. It's
Yeah. It should be
um,
useful, right? When something comes up.
just try. My mission is to help people to solve their problems, and I want to help the engineers to find the
Yeah.
ways here there to solve their problems. And if it reaches sometimes one, two people, and if it reaches at least one person,
Oh, yeah.
my
If
job, I've done something.
if yeah, in today's world, if nothing else, ChatGPT might be reading it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Sounds great. Thanks. This was very useful, and it was an amazing interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the opportunity. I've never done it before, and I'm a little bit blushing, and like, I very much appreciate it. So.
Sounds great. Thanks.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.